everyone, and welcome to Transatlantic Watch Party, a movie podcast in which Dan in Canada and myself, Cara, in the UK, watch a film separately, then get together to discuss it. And this week we are discussing 2001's Josie and the Pussycats, based on the characters from the Archie comics, written and directed by Deborah Kaplan and Harry Elfont.
On April 11th, three small-town girls
You're a great crowd.
Okay, girls, we need the lane now.
are going big time.
You want to sign us?
I'm a girl from Riverdale. I'm not a rock star.
You gotta believe in yourself.
Rachel Lee Cook, Tara Reid, Rosario Dawson,
No matter what happens, we will always be friends first.
Josie and the Pussycats. Rated PG-13 at theaters Wednesday, April 11th.
And I do have it on DVD. I didn't have this last week because it was at my girlfriend's. I'd watched it at her place last time. I watched it, which was a couple years ago. But this is one of my favorite films of all time, I want to say. I don't know why. I feel like I love this movie so much. Hot newcomers Josie, Melody, and Val are three small-town musicians with big dreams but little future. Then fate gives the Pussycats the chance of a lifetime when band manager Wyatt of Mega Records signs them overnight to an awesome recording contract. Suddenly, Josie and the Pussycats are living life in the fast lane with sold-out concerts, a number one single, and global stardom. But it's not all limousines and private jets. The Pussycats soon discover they're being played like pawns in an evil plot by the record label's maniacal Fiona to control the youth of America.
Yeah, and of course what we should say there is dun dun dun.
That's right. So good. It's so good. I love this movie so much. What did you think of it?
I have to admit it took me a while to settle into. I think it's one of the films that's better if you watch it with someone else, and I was doing a solo watch. So you don't kind of get the other person laughing and then you laughing and then everybody, sort of finding it all funny together. But as soon as Fiona came in, like, I love Wyatt. I think Alan Cumming is brilliant. But as soon as Fiona came in and we got the reveal, and that's like half an hour into film, I was like, okay. Oh, this is fun.
This is why I chose it. We were bouncing off of Best in Show, Parker Posey and Best in Show. And again, as this is my favorite Parker Posey performance. I love her in this. She's amazing.
Yes, she is particularly brilliant in this.
And I think it's interesting. This description on the back of the DVD does hint at what the plot is, but actually I was just rewatching the trailer for this film, and the trailer gives no indication of the plot about the hidden messages in the music and what ends up being the central story of this. It's almost like it's kind of like a surprise. Like, were you expecting that kind of a story when you started watching this?
No. I had no idea because I know nothing about the Archie comics. I know nothing about Riverdale. I've not seen the show on Netflix, so I had no concept of any of the background of this story. I also, whenever I watch a film, I like to go in knowing as little as humanly possible. So when I was younger, I used to love watching trailers, and now I'm like, la, 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 I don't want to know. And so I went in not knowing anything. So at the point where she says to Wyatt over the phone, I've got to go, the FBI are here with some foreigners that I have to show around, I was like, what is happening? And then I found out and I was like, oh, and it explains so much of what's been happening in the background of, the first half hour. Just, all the branding aspects.
Oh yes. I mean, I love a movie that makes fun of product placement by having a lot of product placement. And that's what this film does. It's just full of brands, full of logos everywhere you look. And that's the point, is that this label or whatever, every place in the world is kind of sold every space in the world, which kind of has happened, right? It's kind of come true, not to the extent like we're not all having a shower in a McDonald's bathroom or anything like that, but there's a lot of brands around this, and that is the point of this. But it's hilarious. And especially like very specific ones that they touch on throughout the movie. I love it. Yes, and this film stars Rachel Lee Cook as Josie McCoy, who is lead vocals and guitar. Rosario Dawson as Valerie Brown, plays bass and also vocals. And then Tara Reid is Melody Valentine, who plays drums. And I have to say, part of the reason why, this came out when I was at Blockbuster, a lot younger. And one of the reasons why I took this home, I was a fan of Archie comics growing up, but not necessarily these specific characters. This was kind of like a spin-off of Archie. But the main reason why I rented this movie is because I had a crush on Rachel Lee Cook.
Yeah, which is a given. You know,
Yeah.
she's
They're all.
yeah, I mean, they are all beautiful women.
I think this is perfectly cast, honestly. These three in these roles is just, for the time, this is a very, very well cast film.
Yeah, and can I just point out that the idea of having the character called Melody playing the drums is wonderful to me.
That goes back to the comic books. She was one of the comic books. It's great.
We also have Alan Cumming as Wyatt Frame, who is a Mega Records promoter. He works with Du Jour at the beginning of the film and then takes over the Pussycats. Parker Posey as Fiona, no last name. She's like the Madonna of the film, who is the Mega Records CEO. Gabriel Mann as Alan M., the Sweet Boys singer-songwriter, and Paolo Constanzo and Missy Pyle as Alexander and Alexandra Cabot. He is the Pussycats manager, and she is in the comic books.
Yeah, she says, I love that line. It's so funny. And yeah, she is in the comic book. She does not do much except for provide funny moments as she does in this film. So these are I love those two as the Cabots. They're great.
Yeah, that's very Missy Pyle is fantastic. She's great in everything.
Yes, every time I see her in something, I'm just perk up. Oh yeah, and same with Paulo Costanzo. Actually, he's been in Road Trip. He was very good in, and he was also in a series called The Expanse in the first season of The Expanse, which is a great series on Prime.
He looked so familiar to me, and I looked through everything on IMDb, and I couldn't think where I know him from. So I don't know if he's got a little bit of a look of someone else that I know. And I know he played a big part in the Joey Tribbiani.
Oh yeah, he was the brother. Yes, that's right. He was in that sitcom as well. I forgot about that.
So I might have seen one episode and he stuck.
Yeah, I love that show, to be honest. I thought they should have kept that show going.
But yeah, no, it turned out I didn't know him from anywhere, but he is absolutely brilliant. I mean, everyone is giving it large in this, except Rosario Dawson, which I really enjoy. You know, she's like the straight woman, sort of super smart, brilliant Valerie, and everyone else. I mean, Tara Reid is just the ditziest blonde to ever dits in this. And you know, they just take a big swing at this, which is probably why, if it was going to flop like it did, it was going to super flop.
Yeah, because
they took a massive swing at this.
Yeah, I guess. And then if you don't get it, or if you're not into it, then it doesn't hit, right?
Yeah.
But I just think it's hilarious. It's a super clever setup of pop culture, consumerism, like all these things that even back then I kind of hated. I kind of hated these trends that people chase, and it still happens today, of course. And the way the world works, and it really does seem like they are feeding subliminal messages in the music to teenagers to make them buy all this crap, right? This is what the world feels like. So that's why I love this movie. I really do. Following a tragic accident involving his boy band Du Jour, tragic accident in quotes, Wyatt Frame finds himself in Riverdale searching for a new act. Josie, Val, and Melody, the Pussycats, are looking to launch their musical career, and a chance encounter leads Wyatt offering them a record deal. Now, we should start this section by talking about who Du Jour is. Du Jour means many things, as we learned in the film.
Du Jour means seat belts.
Du jour means crash positions at one point. But du jour also means of the day. I think that is the funniest thing, is because this is basically a boy band kind of making fun of Backstreet Boys or NSYNC or any of those other boy bands that were huge back in the day. But they're only big for a little time. Like they're really like one-hit wonders, and they're off. And there's somebody else coming in to replace them, which is again the point. We see them performing at it's an impromptu airport concert. I don't know. It looks like a music video. Honestly, it looks like there should be a music video.
It looks like the I Want It That Way music video. That's what it is. And also they have a move in it that's like this. So they're being like the guys. So I Want It That Way is Backstreet Boys, and Bye 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 is NSYNC, and they're puppets on strings.
Yeah.
So they do both. It's very nicely done.
And we should also say that Du Jour, the band, is played by several very well-known actors and one not so well-known actor. But we have Donald Faison of Scrubs. We have Seth Green of I don't know, Family Guy and many other things. And then we have, of course, Breckin Meyer, who is he best known for Clueless? Like, I don't know what else.
Yeah, I think Clueless probably.
He's also had a lot of little bit parts throughout. He had a real run there at around this time. But I think the reason they're in this film is because they're friends with the producers, or friends with Harry Kaplan and Deborah Elfont, or I always mix their names up.
Well, yeah, Deborah and Harry did Can't Hardly Wait.
Yeah.
And I think they were all in that.
Yeah, they were.
You know, so they came in to do this, and they are hilarious. They are absolutely brilliant. I love that you like go Seth Green, who's known for Family Guy, and I'm like Buffy.
Buffy. I mean, I'm trying to think of a more recent reference.
Got Evil.
But yeah, of course, he's been in so many things, right? And so all three of these guys are kind of well known. The other guy, Les, is less well known. Ha ha ha. But he is hilarious. And so we see they do the concert. We see the girls freaking out over them, and it's like the Beatles, basically. It's like the Beatles in the airport kind of thing. They get on the plane and then they fly away, and then they all have a little problem that they complain to Wyatt about. And so Wyatt is like their babysitter, basically, and he's got to resolve all their issues. And he's like slapping them on the hand. He's like, eye contact, hand. He like smacks them to get them to pay attention to things. But they all have, like, first of all, Seth Green's character. I don't remember what their names are at this point.
Seth Green plays Travis.
Okay, so Travis is upset that Marco, who is Breckin Meyer, is doing his face. He's doing his face, or whatever the face is during a video. He's like, it's my face. He's getting all really worked up about it. So Wyatt resolves that. I will get you a new face. We'll get you a new face too. And then what was the other one? No, he's upset about
the monkey. Yes.
The monkey pooping at Dr. Zayas, the monkey pooping everywhere. That's another thing they're upset about. So it's like they're just kind of like, he's just managing a bunch of like kids basically who are just getting upset with each other.
Also, very funny touch. They are all still wearing their head mics on the plane.
So what? They never take them off.
Yeah. Because they're not real. So it doesn't matter if you're wearing them or not. You know.
Yeah. And so the last thing, of course, Les comes up to him and says, hey, why? We heard something in our music. We were mixing a track last night. We came across this thing. What is this? So he listens for a second. He's like, I have no idea what that is. I'll be right back. And then he runs away. And the line is, take the Chevy to the levee. That's his code phrase to the pilot for them to ditch the plane.
Why? We just want some answers.
The answers I will provide. I'll be right back. Take the Chevy to the levee.
Hey, that guy in the parachute looks just like Wyatt.
Oh, yeah? Does he look like this? Or like this?
Look, I see. Wait, no.
Yeah.
Okay, bring it up.
Yeah, Travis, bring it.
Did you mean seatbelts? Oh, not too much. Did you mean crash positions?
Looks like we need to find a new band.
The plane crashes, and of course they survive. And then he gets on the phone. He says, we got to find a new band. So he's in Riverdale, because that's where they were going to stop, by the way. They were going to go to their concert tour and stop in Riverdale.
Yeah. And the way they abandon the plane is super subtle. Like, they don't want the guys to know what's going on. So the pilot and Wyatt both put on parachutes and then jump out of the plane like... You didn't need to scream as you exited the plane. Both of them do it so good.
It's like, that guy in the parachute looks just like Wyatt. And they realize that they're crashing, right? So he finds himself in Riverdale. And of course, this is where we're introduced to the Pussycats through one of many montages. This whole movie, I would say about 20% montages. But we have a nice montage of them like doing all kinds of fun stuff, playing with kittens and working a food drive. and all kinds of different things. And it's just it's a music video, basically, is what it is. But then we end it with them playing in a bowling alley. So we see that they're not really very glamorous. They're just a little band playing at a local bowling alley. And they're like, hey, girls, into the lane now. And they kick them off the lane. And they're not really, nobody really cares about them except Alan M., who seems to be a fan.
But he isn't there, is he?
No, he doesn't go to
meet him at that.
The thing. I wonder if that's interesting. I just realized that he misses her show at the beginning, and then she misses his show later on in the film.
And also there's a good bit about how they earned $20 for the gig, but they had to pay $5 for the bowling shoe hire. Because they wouldn't be able to, because they were playing all the way at the end and they wouldn't be able to get there if they didn't hire bowling shoes. And she's like, oh, so Val's like, hey, $15, and she's like, $5 each, and she's like, $5.
Like when Rocky has to pay out all the things. Remember when he wins his fight and he gets his money and has to pay part of it for the locker rental and all that stuff? They always get you somehow, right? They're always going to get you.
Yep.
Now, another hilarious catchphrase. So Wyatt gets into town. Another hilarious catchphrase is when he goes into a music store just to kind of look. He's looking for his band, I guess, is what he's doing. He just wanders into a mall and wanders into a music store. He asks the guy to play the latest Du Jour single. This is like just after they announced that Du Jour had died or presumed dead, I guess. They didn't say they said missing. And so they play the song, and then all of a sudden you see people like wanting to buy different things. We see this funny and this is before Orange is the New Black. So Orange is the New Black is a years away, but these guys are saying Orange is the new pink, right? They're shifting their trends so quickly, and then they're like, pink is the new this, and they're moving on to the next thing so quickly. So you see people start to think these things and say these things as they're listening to the music, which is hilarious. So you're starting to get a hint of what's going on here. But then you have the one goth girl who's like, I think that music sucks. It's like, oh, awful. It's just they want you to buy things, and she's kind of got to figure it out a little bit. And he's like, oh, aren't you a free thinker? So he's like, why don't you come and tell us what we're doing wrong? And he just framed it. She's like, how much time do you have? So he's like, smells like Teen Spirit. And so that's my favorite catch, or the code phrase, because it smells like Teen Spirit. Because anytime he encounters a rebellious teenager who thinks for themselves, he's gonna take them off to the side and have them snatched into a van super quickly, and then MTV is gonna show up on the wall right behind them. I love MTV.com right behind them as they so it's such a great product placement for MTV.
The weird thing with the product placement is none of those companies paid for this. You know, they didn't go, do you want to be in our movie? Do you want to be? They just put products in it. Really? And I'm amazed that like nobody sued them, because I feel like if you did that these days, somebody would be like, well, you have to pay us to have the McDonald's, golden arches in there,
You're right, and I think there was a point. This is probably right as we're hitting that tipping point where it was they're just like, oh, great, free advertising. That's probably what they're thinking at the time, right? I've seen a few movies that have done this, where they just have a bunch of brands kind of slapped in there, and the joke is that there's a bunch of brands, and that the brands get all the free promotion. But yes, the brands are not always associated with a nice moment in the movie, right? Like they're like things happening that are not great, and then there's like, hey, Coca-Cola, right, or Pepsi, or whatever it is. Pretty funny.
Yeah, the plane that Du Jour are riding on is Target.
Yes.
Everything inside is Target. And the plane that the girls ride on later, that is Motorola. Mm-hmm. Everything Motorola branded.
Yeah, I mean, when they get to the hotel later on, Melody's got a completely McDonald's branded bathroom, so everything in there is McDonald's. That's a fun scene. Yeah, it's really, really funny what they do with the brands in this. I actually love it.
Yeah. When we do meet Alan M, it's him going around to Josie's house. And of course, we see that sort of overhead shot of all the cookie cutter houses. They all look identical. And every family has the same car. And then you sort of go to Josie's house and it's got like polka dots all over it. It's completely different. And so it is very much pointed out that she is a non-conformist. She and Val and Melody, they wear individual outfits apart from the cat ears that they all wear together. They don't match each other. They have their own styles, their own looks, They are very individual. And yeah, so I do enjoy, like, the inside of Josie's house is absolutely bonkers.
Yeah. That's true. I love when they're leaving the bowling alley from their gig, and then the three girls pull up in the little pink Jeep, and they're making fun of them. And this is when they're being bullied by these girls, and they're like, I can't remember what the exact line is, and she's like, "At least we're not wearing stupid bunny ears or whatever." And that girl who says that is wearing like pom poms on her head. It's the exact same thing as the ears. They're It's just a thing with like two little fluffy things on the top. Functionally, it's the same as the ears that these girls are wearing. So you are wearing something like that. I just love that.
We also see when they're in the house. This is when the Cabots arrive. But before then, before they arrive, the girls are eating ramen noodles, and Val is very impressed by how far they go. So again, these are not wealthy girls. But Melody is using her drumsticks as chopsticks.
Yeah,
And I thought that was beautiful.
that would be difficult. I don't think I could do that.
Yeah. Very cumbersome, I should imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So being nonconformist in this society
Right.
is bad,
Yeah. And that we see that when we go to the they decide they have to go out and make it happen. They're going to go out and they're going to busk, basically, get in a public place and play, and hopefully somebody notices them and signs them to a record deal. This is, I think, really what their plan is. But they just go out and they're like, okay, unplugged, here we go, and they're getting ready. The guy comes out, he's very upset because he's got all kinds of orange things that people want to buy. He doesn't like that there's people playing out front.
Whoa, hey, what do you think you're doing? You can't play here. I've got things to sell. They're new. They're orange.
So
Look at you. Who's going to come into my store with you outside?
The last I checked, this was a free country.
Well, the last I checked, I was calling the cops.
for me, that was bonus J.R. Bourne, because he is in Teen Wolf. And so I was the series, not the Michael J. Fox one. So that was very exciting for me when he popped up and shouted at them like, "I've got orange things to sell," you know.
That's hilarious. He looked familiar, but I didn't quite recognize him. I just know him as this guy, as the guy selling orange things. So then his friends are called the police. They run away, and at this moment they play Meatloaf. I don't love the song they chose for this moment, but this is like what they decide to do. I'm not a big Meatloaf fan, I guess, but basically they have this moment where they're walking across the street. Wyatt almost hits them. Why is Wyatt driving the SUV? What happened to the pilot that was with him?
Well, because when they land, you see the pilot run off into the tree.
Right. That's right, you do. He runs off, and then Wyatt's like, and he's like, "We got to get another band." So he goes into town. The pilot's gone. So Wyatt's driving around this big SUV. He almost hits them, and you see them framed. And he holds up a CD case, and then right behind them, they're taking down the du jour billboard that says #1 band in the world. They're walking across. It's perfect. It's a perfect album cover. He's like, he looks at the camera. We have one of a couple different wall-breaking moments. But he's like, "Well, ladies, I am with Mega Records," and then the rest is history.
Yeah, that's so funny. They I was in a musical called Paradise by the Dashboard Lights that was based around that Meatloaf song. And also the reason they are busking is because they've realized that life is short, as in the life of a band, but also life because they think that Du Jour is dead, because they see on the news, the MTV breaking news, that Du Jour's plane has gone missing. And on the breaking news, they say that the Du Jour commemorative box set CD will be available tomorrow. And I'm like, right. Convenient.
They've got to figure it out, right? And again, because there are so many, and they talk about this in the film, so many musical artists die from plane crashes and all kinds of different reasons, not just because they're flying a lot, right? That's not just the thing. They just happen to be in airplanes a lot. They die of all these weird reasons, and that's what it is. It's just getting rid of them and getting the next people in there so they can start doing the whole thing again, right?
And it's very weird to have. I mean, they were because when you see the thing on MTV, it says Du Jour 2000 to 2001. So they are a very short time artiste. But I suppose, in a way, the record company would do something like that if they did become the biggest band in the world, in the same way that news corporations have in preparation the obituary for the royal family.
True. Well,
You know,
they have obituaries planned for every famous person in the world right now. Like that's a given. Every newsroom does. So you're right. It's true. Now, so they have the deal. It's funny when they sit down with Wyatt to work out the deal, and he all of a sudden offers them a mega contract with not even listening to their music. And there's this great moment where they all pop up to the bathroom to talk about it. And then I love that scene because that's when the Cabot's really shine when they're trying to get in on what's going on. But they take the deal. Of course, they take the deal, right? They
yeah, and that's the
Uh-huh.
first. That's the first time we get one of those. We get a few of them during the film where they go, "Do you think this is weird?" Whenever they do it, like Wyatt gets his phone out to go, in preparation to be like, "We've got to get rid of the girls," and then they go, "It's fine," and he shuts his flip phone.
Yeah.
And that's always a great gag. I really enjoyed that. The second section I have called "We Need a Montage or Two," because we get another two in this. The Pussycats head to New York, where they receive the world's most lackluster makeover. Wyatt changes the name of the band. They record their first single and experience huge success. We meet Fiona, huzzah, and discover there is more to Mega Records than meets the eye. So, first we see them on this Motorola branded plane. This is where we get because Alexandra has said to Josie, "Oh, isn't it a pity you're going to go to the big city and Alan M's going to be left behind here with little old me," And so they managed to get Alan M on the plane as Josie's guitar tech. And then Alexander says to Alexandra, "Why are you even here?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm here because I was in the comic book." And he's like, "What?" And she's like, "Oh,
I love it. I love that. One of the best lines in the film for sure.
absolutely brilliant." Then they get to New York and we get our makeover montage, which is normally a highlight of a film for me. I love a dress-up montage. This is the most nothing burger makeover I have ever seen. And I get that's probably kind of the point, because they don't want these girls to be individual and stand out. They want them to conform. So they're, but they don't change anything about them.
I'm wondering where you're going with this.
You see them messing with their hair, and Josie just comes out with the same hair, and Val comes out with the same hair, and Melody comes out with a slighter, better blowout. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing.
But they get the nice montage of them with the foil things on their heads and the green mud pack on their face, and the na 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 na, like they're singing. Like that's the whole point of this, right? But you're right. From beginning to end, the two ends of this, they look very similar. They're not really changing much here. They're making them slightly more glamorous, but it's not really. And then at the end, they have that person. I assume it's a famous person that I'm supposed to know who it is. Come out and do the last little thing on her hair or whatever. Like it's the honorary. You got me to work on your hair. I don't know. That was weird because I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I don't know who that person is.
I don't know who it was. When they walked out, I was like, "Hey, it's Tig Notaro," but I don't think it is.
A little too early for that.
But it was, it's such a weird. And obviously, the other thing you see is this is their first single, so you get the whole sort of montage of their single being produced and bought and stuff. No, is that later? I can't even remember now. Is that a later montage? The first thing you see them climbing up the
charts. Yes, no, this
charts.
is this montage. Yeah, they're climbing up the charts and they're walking. You can see them get out of the limousine as they're at number one. The song is "Good to Be Nice." Is that the name of the song?
Yeah, but it just seems is that before they go into the studio?
Oh, you know what? I think you're mixing up your two montages. There's two montages.
Yeah, that's what I was.
First one is
the makeover montage is a complete disappointment for me, who loves a makeover montage. Sure. Then they step out of John Frieda, and there's a huge billboard that says Josie and the Pussycats, and Val is like, "We're not Josie and the Pussycats. We are just the Pussycats." And he's like, "No, but you need to have a lead singer, front person, so that people can cling onto them and, all this sort of stuff." And I think Josie says, "It's really big. What if people don't like us?" And he goes, "Oh, we'll just change it. We'll just put a new band up there." And then sort of realizes what he said. But yeah, that's exactly what happens. The turnover of these bands is super fast, because if it doesn't work, they can just bring in a new one. If they find out what's going on, they can just bring in a new one. And it always makes me think of starting out as an actor. So many people, and any kind of art these days, they expect you to work for free. And if you won't work for free, there are 400 people lined up behind you who will to get that opportunity. And so it's how they get you. And then, of course, so Val is having the first sort of moment of her thinking, "Oh, I don't feel comfortable with this." And then Melody, who is so oblivious to everything, she gets in the limo, and Josie's in the limo, and Wyatt gets in the limo, and the limo drives off without her. And that is the first time we see the full effect of Val being forgotten about by Wyatt, very much not by Josie. It comes up later. Josie is still very invested in Val's opinion. Nobody asked for Melody's opinion. But yeah, that's the first time we see that Val is just, he's like, "Oh, I thought you were in the car."
Melody is like, I love this character because she is a ditzy. She is not too bright, but she also has some interesting things to say at interesting times. And I wish I had a specific moment to refer to in this. I'm thinking about later on when she kicks ass. Specifically, but she comes through in certain moments that I really like, and she kind of provides perspective, I think. And she is kind of the soul of the band in that she gets she's trying to figure out what's going on between her two friends who are having the disagreement later on. Sorry, getting ahead of ourselves here. Hold on. Are we on to the next? Are we meeting Fiona?
Yes, we are now on to meeting Fiona, because we do briefly get her on the call, but we don't see her.
Yes.
So this is the first time we actually see Fiona, and we get the reveal, which is, why are the FBI there with all these foreign people that she has to show around? And she's got one of these little pieced sand gardens, with a little rake, and she pushes all the sand away, and presses a load of buttons, and then the whole office sinks into the floor like a super villain.
Yeah, cool.
And she reveals that they are putting in subliminal messages on the songs and making people the malleable brains of the children, the plasticine brains, they're making the kids buy things. And she goes, "We have made a educational video for you." And then there's a pause, and she goes,
and who is it? Making his third appearance in a row on this podcast that tells them all about this plan.
Bonus Eugene Levy.
Hello, I'm Eugene Levy, and yes, I'm an actor. No, I said cappuccino. I'm here to talk to you about something very important. No, it's not about me or my career. I'm here to talk about subliminal messages in rock and roll music, or as it's simply known in some cultures, rock music. You see, for years, the government has been wisely coercing teenagers to buy products they normally wouldn't want just to get their money. Fact, kids don't have bills to pay. Fact, they don't pay taxes. But they do babysit and hold minimum wage jobs that earn them wads of cash as thick as, well, my body of work.
I totally forgot he was in it. Honestly, when I suggested this movie last week, I completely forgotten he had done this. But it is one of the funniest parts of the film, especially right at the beginning where he's like, "No, I said cappuccino." And he's disgusted with whatever drink that person has brought him as they're opening. And he just keeps going into it. He's such an asshole, but it's so funny. I love it.
I do especially love that at the end of it, he says, "God bless the United States of America." And I was like, "Eugene, you're Canadian."
Yes. But I'm sure an American paid him to say that. So he's happy to do it. That's part of the joke, I think, is that he's Canadian, right? So
yeah.
Anyway, it's great. It explains the whole, and it's a lot of exposition, but it's at the right place, and it's funny. That's why it's so interesting, because it makes it funny. There's little moments throughout. I love Agent Kelly. The guy who's in charge of the government operation. We don't really, I guess he's FBI, right? They say he's FBI. And then did you notice in the crowd of foreign people was the clerk from the dog toy store in Best in Show?
No.
Oh yeah. He was one of the. He wasn't. He didn't have a line. He wasn't like quote the Chinese guy because she says a racist way. The Chinese guy gets it, and they cut to a different guy. But the guy who was the clerk in that who argued with her about the bee toy was in this scene. He was one of the guys, and I learned he's a Canadian actor. Actually, he lives in Vancouver, and so this was shot in Vancouver, and so they would bring in Canadian actors to fill in some of these roles. So there you go. Maybe Best in Show was as well.
Oh my god, could I just check something? Do I have 30 seconds to take out of our time to just because there is a guy in that I did recognize, and I know him from The Man in the High Castle, but I don't know if that's the same guy. Best in let's go that way. Best in Show. Who is the pet store guy?
I know a better way to go. Because he's also in Capricorn.
It is him! Oh my god! I did not know that was him. I love him.
All right.
I didn't recognize him in Best in Show. He's Hiro Kanagawa. And I didn't recognize him. I love him. I loved him in The Man in the High Castle.
Well, you're right. Yeah, I found him. He's also in Caprica, which I've been watching, which is kind of a Battlestar Galactica prequel series, sort of. But he is both. He's in both these films.
Yeah. When I say I love him, what I mean is he's a very attractive man.
He is. Look at him. Like he's just like, wow, very intense.
That man is a dish, and I'm so upset with myself that I did not immediately.
Well, he didn't have any lines. I just spotted him out of the corner of my eye, but he doesn't have any lines in the scene. He's just one of the many international dignitaries that are there to kind of take in the lecture. And I love there's also this moment where they have him sit down and he just like go kind of seat, and his chairs like all kind of come in from different angles, very cool. And so this whole scene I just love. It's just so much fun.
Yeah, we get a little cartoon, and then she talks about how, like, yes, as you said, why do you think so many artists die in plane crashes, of drug overdoses, of all this stuff? And she's got images behind her. She's got a very nice multimedia presentation. And she's like, we've got so many ways we can bring these people down. We've got bankruptcy, we've got scandals. It doesn't matter, what we do to end the career of someone if they figure out what we're doing.
We even made a hit TV show that explains what happens to these people behind the music, which was a hit TV show at the time, not so much now. But that's what that show was just explaining all the horrible things that happen to musicians.
Yeah. This is why this particular musician died in this terribly tragic way, and none of it was true because it was all Fiona. And as she said, they've been doing it for years. So that's very that was very fun. We get, I think, do we then get the girls in the studio?
Yes, they get to the studio. We meet the Mega Sound console, which he says, I'll just show you. Go ahead and play something, will you? And so they play a little bit of a song. And so it what it sounds like in the moment is that it makes it sound fuller. Like it adds a little more. Honestly, it sounds like what AI could do right now. Like like you can make it sound like add more background, add more instrumentation behind it. Like it makes it sound like a more produced song, right?
What it sounds like is the first recording we heard.
Right.
The first montage we see of them. Because what it adds in is Val's backing vocals.
Okay.
She does not sing backing vocals when they're recording. And then
Right.
as soon as he hits play on that Mega Sound thing, there she is.
Yes.
And so Val saying, "Is that us?" rings really true, because she's like, that can't be, because I didn't just sing.
Oh wow, that's very that is kind of like AI, right? That's that's crazy. And then of course it also has hidden messages. So Melody wants a Big Mac, even though she's a vegetarian. What does Val want? Some kind of shoes? I remember.
Yeah, she wants to go to Foot Locker. Can't remember what exactly she wants.
Kind of shoes, and she's like, and then what's her name's like, Josie's like, they're the new DVD, and they go like they say the same kind of thing like the girls sing like Pink is the New Black, but the new thing, and then they're like, so they're being brainwashed in that second to whatever the song is, right?
Yeah. And then the song turns off and they sort of come out of it.
Yeah.
Which is something that we see later doesn't happen when Josie is brainwashed. And I don't know if it's because she listens to the song so many times that it's really taken root. But I think these songs, these sort of 3-minute hit pop songs, they will just affect you for those 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And it will influence you. And then the next pop song will influence you to do something else. And that's,
Okay, yeah.
That's how they can change everything up.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when J.R. Bourne comes out and he's like, you can't play here, I have orange things to sell. The other thing, Fiona is just a very fancy science fiction basement with just panels of people going, this is the new fashion, and this is the new colour, and this is the new slang. But are they communicating this to the brands? Because how did J.R. Bourne have a load of orange stuff in when only half a day earlier everyone was buying pink? And the day before that they were buying red. How do the brands keep up? It must be a nightmare for them. They must have so much wasted stock.
Yeah, well, fast fashion, right? This is what happens. They also work on phrasing. They say like jerkin is the new awesome, so it's jerkin. Like this thing is jerkin, which is
hilarious. And there's a brilliant bit with the fashion where they go, oh, it's this and feathers. It's like Buffy meets Chicken Run.
Oh, it's great. I love
Which
it.
is so brilliant. And then we get another Fiona, one of my favorite Fiona moments, where we see the nonconformist girl in like a tank, with the other goth and grunge and emo kids and whatever. And she shows how this is the first time we actually hear the subliminal messages. And she goes, this is what they think they're listening to. And it's a pop song. And she goes, but this is what they're actually listening to. And you hear the subliminal messages. And the FBI guy goes, who is, I know that voice. Who is that? Is that Mr. Movie Phone? I don't know who that is.
Neither do I.
That was obviously a big thing at the time.
Yeah.
And then they have, and then all the kids like sit down and become very well behaved and so they've got them. And then Fiona does this aside as she's turning away. He's like, they won't know what hit them. And she's like, and neither will you. And he's like, what? She, sorry? Did you say something? No. And then they have this whole thing and she like manages to bluff her way out of it. And then she does it again. Yeah. And that is absolutely brilliant. I love her.
Third time, like you see her watching. Okay, I'm not gonna say anything, but for a minute there, you're like, is she gonna do it again? No, they leave, but that like you're just waiting for that third time, right? But it's very funny.
Yeah, it's a very, very. They didn't push it too far, so it's a very well done gag. Then we see Val watching a documentary about
Captain and Tennille.
Cookie and Captain and Tennille.
Yes.
Who I didn't know, but you told me about last week.
Yeah.
And then I realised I know their famous song. I know Love Will Keep Us Together. Yeah. But they started out as Captain Chief and Tennille. And so it's an interview with Chief and how he's like not doing anything now. And he is like a janitor. And that made me think of Molly's game, because she talks about Jackie Robinson's brother, who came second in the Olympics behind Jesse.
Jesse Owens?
Yeah. And he ended up being a janitor. And I was like, oh, it's these people who had a career, but then it didn't go the way they wanted. And they both ended up being janitors. And so Val obviously has this on her mind that she is being pushed out of. She's not being pushed out of the band because Josie has no idea, that this will be going through her mind. But in the meantime, they are then invited to a big launch party for Josie and the Pussycats. And it's just Josie's face on the invitation. And Wyatt gives the invitation to Josie, and he gives an invitation to Melody. And he doesn't have an invitation for Val. And when she says, don't I get one? He's like, oh, no. But you can come along. There's always space for another one.
Did you notice that Melody gives hers to Val at the end of that scene? Like, she's like, here you go. She's just trying to help her be included.
Yeah.
Right.
So she is he's really getting into her head.
Yeah.
And I don't know that that's part of, like, the plan, because they don't really make that plan until later. So I genuinely just think he's terrible. He describes her as the one with the tan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it does feel like that. It does feel like he's singling out Val, and but I think that she needs to be that character who's critical of what's going on. That's why she's put in it. But it does come across that way, that he's being racist. Honestly, it could be seen that way for sure. Not great.
And then we get the bit that, so they get ready to go out, and Alan turns up, and Josie is she looks amazing. She's wearing this gorgeous like leopard print dress, and he's brought pizza, and she's like, "Oh no, I didn't tell you. I've got to go to this party." And then Wyatt turns up, like they're having a moment, and Wyatt turns up and says out loud, "I hope I'm not interrupting anything." Oh no, very much so. And Alan's like, "Well, maybe we could do something together tomorrow." And he's like looking through his window. 2:00, you've got E. 2:15, you've got this. 2:30, you've got this. And eventually they find a time when she can fit Alan in her day tomorrow. And Wyatt goes, "Sold to the young man with no future."
Poor Adam 12, as Wyatt ends up calling him. I think that's a pretty funny joke there.
Because I missed that line every time. I rewound it, and I couldn't hear what he was saying. Is that what
he says? Adam 12. Yes, he calls him Adam 12. He's like, "What's with the initial?" First of all, he says, "What's with the initial? It didn't work for Sheena E. It doesn't work for you." And then as they're leaving, he says, "Goodbye, Adam 12." Which is a TV show.
That is so unnecessary. Oh, and the other thing we get in this, of course, is the shadowy figure.
Oh, yes.
Because we see the shadowy figure when the limo drives away after the lackluster makeover. And we also see them in Melody's bathroom, McDonald's themed bathroom, when she's having that shower.
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, and you really want to show it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
And she steps out of the shower and she screams because there's a message on the mirror. And then she goes over, she gets her lipstick, and she put she makes into a smiley face, and she puts a heart over the eye, and she's like, "That's better." No, it doesn't take in "Beware of the music." Like, no interest in that at all. Just, how can I make this nicer?
Mm-hmm.
She just wants to make everything nicer for everybody.
So moving on to the party, we have they throw a big party, as he said, in Josie's honor, although the whole party seems to be about Fiona when you look at it. Like the ice sculptures spell Fiona, like that kind of stuff.
I don't want to even admit how long it took me to spot that, because I could see an I and an O, and all I kept thinking was, have they put Josie in the wrong order? Like, how does this work? And it took me the entire scene to go, "Oh, it says Fiona."
Well, you had a wide shot right at the end there that shows it. But like so they show up and everyone's kind of looking at them though, and they're all kind of nervous about it. And then all of a sudden we got Fiona makes this grand entrance to like a big band version of the song with somebody else singing it, and she like comes down with these men carrying her and all these people. It's like a huge production. So it's this big deal. And then all of a sudden she goes, "Let's go be girls." She spirits the girls off to her girly room, as she calls it, just to like sit around and snack and gossip and do all girly things.
To sit around and decidedly not snack, because how much do you weigh? I weigh 3 pounds less than you. And I was looking into, I was reading all the trivia, and there's a podcast called Josie and the Podcasts that I've been listening to. And apparently the first draft of this had that she used to be fat.
Oh.
And that was what she was bullied for. But Parker Posey changed it to the lisp. Neither of which I'm terribly happy about. But, but I think that's why you get references to how thin she is all the time.
Okay. Interesting.
Also, this was the highlight of, the low-rise jeans, the trousers that Tara Reid wears throughout are criminal. Absolutely all the oh my god, as a girl living through that fashion, that was an absolute nightmare. If you had any semblance of, like if you gripped then when they grab their skin and they're like, oh, I've got fat, and you're like, no, that's just skin. If you had any skin, you couldn't wear those trousers. So an absolute nightmare. And so this thing about, constantly, well, the multiple references to Fiona being thin, I think might have come from that first draft.
Okay, interesting. But this is where we kind of start to get the idea that there's more to this for her than just about making records, or even about, it's not just about like brainwashing the youth. There's something personal in this for her. She wants friendship, she wants companionship or something. She wants to be one of the girls, and she's really obviously doing this. And then they walk out of there going, Fiona's weird. Like, she's like, I was like, she is just nuts. Like, what's going on with her, right? And then that's a great moment where Melody's like, yeah, I know. As soon as you said her name, I felt a chill down my spine. She's like, it's because you're sitting on the O. And of course, she's sitting on the ice. Oh, and she has a chill down her spine because she's leaning up against it. So it's a flip.
But then she stands up and she's like, no, I've still got it.
Yeah. Okay.
And Fiona's watching this. And of course, this is going to upset her because she wants to be, she wants to be cool and special and liked. And these girls have immediately walked out of the room and are trashing her. And so they come up with this like, oh, they're asking questions and I don't like. And she says something about, we'll put those two little nosy pussycats down. So she wants to keep Josie, but she'll get rid of the other two. And then we have an evil laugh off, which is always fun, where she and Wyatt compete to do the evilest evil laugh. And he gets the last go. He is winning, and she throws like an M&M in his mouth so that he'll choke.
Yeah, so the plan is to kill Val and Melody. They're sent off to a fake taping of Total Request Live, which again is something I'm not that. It's more of an American thing. It's not a show I ever watched. I was never an MTV person. We have our own music channel here in Canada called Much Music, and I was more of a Much Music watcher. But they go on there, and we do have Carson Daly, but we also have Aries Spears, who plays the other Carson Daly. That's how he's credited at the end of the movie. Because he pretends to be Carson Daly. He's black. He's obviously not Carson Daly, and they say that to him. You're not Carson Daly. He's like, what? It can't be Carson Daly. A black man can't be Carson Daly. And then Carson Daly shows up. They have this little moment, and so Aries Spears, his whole thing is all his impressions he can do. And he's been like, I know him he was from a show called Mad TV back in the day. So he was one of the Mad TV cast, and I don't think he did much after that. So in the scene, he's just really here for his impressions. They're usually really funny. One does not hold up. One is really,
You know who's funny? Bill Cosby. And he's going to kill you after stick my spoon in your pudding.
I know, and that's not his fault. It's that that's not, we didn't. I mean, some people probably knew, but we didn't know. Yeah. But the fact that Val criticizes his Chris Rock.
Chris Rock, yeah.
She's like, that's the worst Chris. You're terrible. You're not funny.
Yeah.
And he's just heartbroken. He's like, you want to be killed by Eddie Murphy? And that's very stupid. And this is where we see Mel being a little bit of a badass.
Yes.
Because they end up because they go to the TRL studio, but it's all just cardboard printouts of cameras and people, and it's like just a flat pack of furniture where it's just a completely 2D rendering of the TRL studio, and so Mel is being chased around by Carson Daly with a baseball bat, and they're like bonding, and they're like, I always thought you were really hot. I always thought that you were. And if this wasn't happening, we could totally date. And then she's in like the bleachers in the seats where they've got all these like cardboard cutouts of famous people. And she knocks him off the back with Matt Damon. And then she looks at him and she's like, you on the other hand, I'd never dare go like him, but you.
Yeah, that's great. I also noticed, I didn't look it up, but I noticed in that scene, there's this one guy whose face is repeated a few times in the background. And I just wonder if it's one of the producers or somebody because there is a lot of famous people in that like scene, but there's just one person that just looks like a regular guy. They clearly made several different copies of the cutout for him to be in there. So I just kind of wonder,
they definitely have 2 Christina Aguileras and they have 2 Johnny Depps. So there are repeats. But yeah, I didn't recognize everyone, but I never do.
And then while this is happening, Josie is given a recording of their new single to listen to, and it's got subliminal messaging specifically for her to tell her to go plan a solo career. We don't need Val and Mel. You can just do this on your own, and it's all this stuff. At least when she's walking around, I guess New York, listening to this.
Well, because first we see her listening to it in the bathroom, and literally in the bath.
Oh yeah,
the girls come back.
That's the worst part of the movie. When she's mean to them, I hate that part of the movie. Yeah. When she's like, "Who's a rock star?" and all, like that's just awful. It just guts me every time. And then they go off to the TRL thing, and then she goes off on her walk with.
No. They come back from TRL.
Oh.
And they're like, they just tried to have us killed. And she's like, I told them not to let any visitors in. Right. And so they've already gone through this awful situation. And now she's being a bitch, you know. And they have no idea what's happened. And Val has been so worried about this. And this is the thing, before they get the invite to TRL, Josie is like going, oh, with this big concert that we're going to do, what should we open with, Val? What do you think, Val? Do you think we should do this? Do you think we should do something new, Val? And she's constantly looking for Val's input. And Val is just so hyper-focused on the Coke can with Josie's face on it and the magazine with Josie's face on it and everything with Josie's face on it, that she just keeps going, oh, you decide, it's your thing, you know. And so she is completely in her head about it. So for her to then go on to TRL, and even when they get the invitation, she's like, Josie isn't invited? Is this a problem for you? And Josie's like, no, this will be great for you. She's so pleased for them. Mm-hmm. She really wants it to be the whole band. And so for her it's a whiplash for Val to go off to this TRL thing, nearly try and be killed, and then come back and suddenly Josie is the person she thought Josie was going to turn into.
Yeah.
It's devastating. And then we see, because the other 2 girls, and she's horrible to Melody. She tells Melody that puppies grow up into dogs and then they die. Which is, you don't tell Melody, you back off, cow. You know? So Melody and Val, you know, run off. And then we see Josie walking through the streets of New York and she's listening. And that's when we go into the CD player yeah. And like through all the electronic bits. And we hear Mr. Moviephone. And he is saying exactly the lines that she just spoke to Val and Mel.
Yeah.
So it's a thorough brainwashing that has happened. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The other thing I noticed was when they got the invitation to TRL, Wyatt says, there are stylists waiting in your room. And I thought, are Val and Mel sharing a room? Like Josie's got her own room. And I know the Cabots, I think, are sharing a room. I don't know where Alan is. He's probably in that room as well. But yeah, like, are they sharing a room? That seems mean.
Yeah, but maybe this is all deliberate. Maybe it is like they want to separate like the whole Josie and the Pussycats and forgetting Val all those times. Maybe they are trying to separate her away from the other 2 so they can just control her. She's the front person of the band. She's a singer. She's a guitar player. They don't really need the Pussycats. Can be anybody, is what they're trying to say. And she's like, no. Now, honestly, no, I'm always kind of unsure of how she breaks the. Oh yeah, she's walking and then she trips. And
someone knocks into her, yeah.
And she falls and the headphones come off, and then she drops her wallet, so a bunch of stuff falls on the ground. And one of the things she picks up is the bus pass, with their 3 pictures on it, so they all are in each other's bus pass photos, and that kind of snaps her out of it, like it reminds her of their friendship, basically. And she kind of snaps out of the brainwashing, then, right? And she realizes what's happening.
Yeah, because the bus pass we've learned about on the private jet over to New York. Because Val was like, maybe I should get rid of this. I don't need this anymore. Or a private jet. And Mel says, no, I think we should keep them, you know. And Val says, yeah, it'll remind us where we came from, which is exactly what it does.
Exactly. So for brainwashing, so she goes back to the studio to try to figure out what's going on. She finds the Cabots to bring, and again, they're so funny in this scene. They're just kind of like there's a part where the Alexander's just like kind of like rolling back, and he's starting to go off the deep end at this point. He's stressed out because he thinks it's all over, right? What does he thinks it's done. He thinks that like they're canceling everything for some reason. But he's also
he knows that the other girls, they heard everything, so they know.
Oh yes, they're fighting. They know that they're angry at each other, and then he's drinking a lot of energy drinks, so he's very hyped up on it. So then there's this part where they're at the thing, they're like going on the sliders, figuring out what's on the CD, and he's just like rolling behind them in the chair. He's just having fun in this chair, rolling back and forth. And so they figure out that there is this here again. They hear the mystery movie phone on their CD, which is like, Josie, the Pussycats is awesome. It's like all messaging around them, and that basically they're brainwashing people into liking them is what they figure out, right? The messages on the CD are saying like this CD and buy this CD, so people are, and it's the only reason why they're so well. They think it's the only reason why they're so popular, and they've sold out the concert. By the way, they've only ever played one concert at the beginning at the bowling alley, and they played the one at the end, and that's it. There's no other concerts in between this whole thing.
Nope. And she does say, like, that we're doing this big concert, stadium concert. Do you not think we should maybe like play a smaller gig, tour Europe, build a following? And he's like, you have a following. And that's the thing. I mean, it does happen like that for some people, I suppose. But if you're made into a boy band like One Direction, then you suddenly have this mass following and you've never done anything, but yes, so that's when we get Missy Pyle going, which I very much enjoy, because she does a speech. She starts it by saying, and then she ends the speech, and then the soundtrack goes, and then Fiona walks in, and again the soundtrack goes, and I'm like, I can't get enough of this. We should have this every 30 seconds. This is my favorite thing.
You slept with him.
And she's like, oh my God, I'm a trend pimp. She's absolutely, Josie is absolutely horrified. So then Fiona arrives. Fiona forces her to the venue to play the big concert anyway. And she explains backstage that they have a new plan for what's going to happen to Mel and Val, which is, again, murder. The girls fight for their lives and create control and take to the stage together once their victory is assured. I love Fiona's Mega Records dress.
With like
I'm in love with that dress.
Things flopping around all over the place, like
that's the feathers when she's when she's being a terrible villain. No, right. The Mega Records dress is just a one sleeve, one shoulder ball gown that she has like pinned a load of Mega Record logos to, and I just adore it. It's absolutely brilliant. Yeah. And so she turns up and Josie's absolutely refusing to do this gig, and then they bring in Mel and Val, and they show them that they already have pre-recorded a breaking news segment for MTV, where Mel and Val are going to get blown up in this car. So does this reveal where they like the curtains come to the side, and it's like The Price is Right. There's a car on a rotating table, and Melody's like, I want a car. And Fiona's like, you haven't won a car. And she looks at Val and goes, I want a car. She's like, nobody's won a car. Fiona is just done with these people. She just wants her new subliminal message to go out. I didn't realize that it was going to be like a different subliminal message.
Yeah,
I thought it was just going to be the same thing. So they've sold specifically these cat ear headphones, so that people in the concert and at home where they're watching it streamed live will also get the subliminal messages.
Yes, but they're selling it as this new experience, this new audible experience, 3D audio or whatever they're calling it. Sounds like the music's all around you. What, you mean like in normal life when you listen to music? Like, what are you talking about here? That's ridiculous. And so they have these. So they have these things, and Carson Daly has two of them. We see him put on two, and he's all beat up. I love that part where he's got like the cast on because Melody kicked his ass. And so I also want to point out this concert is sponsored by Kodak, which does not exist anymore. But there's a part of the concert where you see people like taking these little Kodak disposable cameras. And I'm like, that's something that, or they're selling them rather. Everyone's selling merchandise and stuff at the concert. And it's like, it's interesting how quickly that went away. Like that was so. within a couple of years of when this movie came out, because Kodak is no more, right? There's no need for film anymore, so they don't exist. But yeah, it's
people are still. I mean, people do still shoot on film. I don't know whether Kodak exists anymore, but people do still, like photographers especially do very much do still shoot on film. But yeah, those little disposable cameras, like my sister had those at her wedding, so every table had a disposable camera. So that sort of thing. Yeah. Now, like these days they're coming back in, I think. So people have like Polaroid cameras again.
Yeah, so you buy little ones with like instant cameras, and I guess those are popular for sure.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So Mel and Val are put into the car, and this is like the emotional moment when we get the emotional breakthrough with the girls, and Josie is like, I never hated you, and I never did that, and she's like, if I could go back in time and change all this, I would. And Melody says, if I could go back in time, I'd want to meet Snoopy. And and Josie's like, yes, and that's what I love about you, Melody. And then she talks to Val, and she walks around like the car, because Val's like, and she walks around with her, and then they all end up going, I love you, and I love you, and I love you, and I love. And Fiona comes in and goes, yeah, ice cream, we scream, we all scream for ice cream. I don't care about any of this. I'm so bored. Just need you to play the gig, not these two. I don't even care. So the choice is you either play the gig or we blow these two up and we cancel the gig. And that's how we go away with you not playing the gig.
That's when De Jour shows up.
Is that when De Jour shows up?
Well, you're gonna have a pretty hard time selling secret messages once your secret's out.
Oh, and tell me, Cookie, who will believe you? Who will get behind the ridiculous ramblings of one silly, powerless girl?
We will.
Who the hell are you?
Someone you thought you'd gotten rid of.
Oh my God, it's Les from Du Jour!
Les? I tried to warn you. The message on your mirror.
That was you? Du Jour was in my bathroom.
But I thought you guys were killed in a plane crash. That's what I thought. Wyatt?
Oh, well, we managed to land the plane just fine. Unfortunately, it was in the parking lot of a Metallica show. Well, the fans beat the crap out of us.
Well, you didn't look too bad.
And I thank God every day I knew the words to Enter Sandman.
They all show up, like the garage door, and they're all in like silhouettes, and they go forward. There's 3 of the 4 of them. The 3 more famous ones are in full body casts, plus the monkey, full body cast monkey. Who I went to see Metallica. That's the first gig I ever went to. Was the Black Album Metallica when I was 11.
Wow.
And everyone there was the nicest. But I was in a boy band. I don't know. Everyone there was so nice to us.
No, I love that. Again, as you said, the 3 more famous actors are in body casts, probably because they could only be on set for one day. For one day, so they shot the airport stuff with the plane and all that for those guys. They could only get the actor who plays Les back for the second day, and so they just put doubles in casts and then made the. Like, it's a very easy joke and it explains things, but it's also like it makes sense, right? Those 3 guys are like Donald Faison is probably working on Scrubs, and Seth Green is probably doing Family Guy or something like that. Like, these guys are all doing other things, right? So
I haven't even thought of that. That is hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, we can't afford them. We'll just put them in full body cast. That's brilliant. Like in Heated Rivalry, it's a very low budget TV show, and so they couldn't afford kids. So all they had was like the dad, and then just kids' voices off, and him shouting at them, like, "Stop running around!" They couldn't afford kids and people to look after the kids, and to only shoot in these hours to get work around the kids. So they were like, "We'll just have voices off screen." Brilliant! It works brilliantly. But no, I hadn't thought of that. That's so funny. And in the meantime, Alexander and Alexandra are tied up with mega record tape across their mouths. And when De Jour turns up, Alexandra pulls the tape off her mouth and goes, "Oh my God, it's De Jour!" And then the next time we see her, she's got the tape back on. And I wish we'd seen her put the tape back on.
Yeah.
Like, I wish that was part of the gag, because it kind of makes it look like a continuity error, and it isn't.
Well, she can reach her own thing and take off the tape herself, right?
Yeah, so she takes it off, and then she puts it. You can see her start to put it back on, but it cuts away too soon. And I wish they'd left the whole thing in. And then we get the fight. You know me. I love a good fight, and it's brilliant because we get some proper. It's like the Bridget Jones fight, you know, where they're just like slapping each other with their hands and like throwing each other into like stuffing food in each other's mouths and whatever. And in the meantime, Melody gets out of the car, and it turns out she's like a martial arts expert.
But she's also going up against another martial arts expert. Like, that guy also knows martial arts. So it's like a genuine kung fu fight there in the middle of all this. And then she like kicks his ass, and she turns around and says, "Hey, you want some?" And the guy's like, "No." And he runs away. He's like, No. Nobody wants to mess with her after that. I love it. It's hilarious. Just in the middle of all this, they got kung fu.
And so, yeah, so I love that. And then like they corner Josie, and Fiona picks up the guitar. And I don't know whether Josie like puts herself there on purpose. I like to think she did, so that when Fiona takes a swing at her with the guitar, it breaks the mega sound 3,000, 8,000, however many thousands. And it starts, and so it breaks, and it explodes, and they think it's broken forever. But then it starts spewing out all the stuff it was going to say. Mr. Movie Phone's voice comes out, and it's all about Fiona. It's all about Fiona is the coolest, and you want to be her, and she's so thin. Again. And, you know, and Parker Posey is doing like that brilliant, like, face, you know, like, I've been caught. It's embarrassing. Yeah. And so this whole huge concert wasn't even about selling, you know, things. It was about selling Fiona. And then at the party, when she's in the girly room, that's the first time we see her lisp come out. Mm-hmm. And so now we get the big reveal that she has this speech impediment, and she was bullied all of her life for it. And so she just wants to be cool and liked. And then Wyatt reveals that he knew her. He went to school with her. He was like, Lisa, lisping Lisa. And it turns out he was also an outcast at her school because he is albino. And she's like, "No, you're not," because he wasn't British. And he goes into an American accent, and he's like, "No, I was just doing that because I thought it made me look cool." And then like he's got makeup on, and he pulls his wig off, and he's got this bright white hair. And she takes her teeth out, and she's got like terrible teeth. I don't know why she has to have terrible teeth, but anyway, she has terrible teeth. And then he like unbuttons his jacket and lets his gut fall out, and he's like, "I've been holding that in for 15 years." And so we get this moment of like, oh, they're gonna like, oh, and Alexander's like, oh, this is the, you know, Alexandra is like, what is the moral here? That freaks should date other freaks. And so we actually get a moral of the story moment where Alexandra's like, no, you should be happy with who you are. It's who you are on the inside. And then he realizes that he's, you know, in all the trendy stuff. So he just takes all his clothes off. He's like, this isn't me. This is me. And he's just, you know. And then the FBI turn up. Yes. Because why not? And Josie's like, oh my God, thank God you're here.
And she tells him all about the plan. And he's like, what? Oh my goodness. And he's like, sorry, Fiona. Someone's got to take the fall. He's just, I love it. Love Agent Kelly. He's brilliant. He's so funny.
And he says to Fiona, well, of course, after this concert, we were going to come and close you down anyway, because we have learned that subliminal messages work much better in movies. And then there is a writing on the screen that says, join the army.
Well, it says Josie and the Pussycats are the best movie ever. And then it says, join the army.
Oh, so funny. And then they go up and they play their gig. And she's terrified because she doesn't even know if they're gonna like their stuff, you know. She's like, we're gonna play something that you haven't heard before, and you know, make up your own minds, because that's what she knows they haven't been able to do. So she gets them to take their ears off, The other thing that happens is when they break the mega sound, you get all this feedback and everyone goes, oh, takes the headphones off. There is one guy in the crowd who isn't wearing, he's already taken his off. And he just goes, and I'm like, oh, he's still making the face, even though he's not got the ears off. So that I love an extra doing something a bit weird, and that was my favorite. And she goes up, and so she's like talking into the mic, and then they start to sing, and then it gets to like an instrumental moment, and Alan turns up, and he's crowd surfing, and he wants to tell her that he loves her, and she steps away from the microphone to talk to him, and is still fully mic'd.
And he is too, apparently.
Well, he doesn't sound it.
It kind of does. I mean, there's no way they would be able to hear each other talking to each other in that crowd, right? There's no way.
But all I mean is, in the sound design, he sounds like me. He's shouting and whatever. She is reverberating around the stadium.
No.
She sounds exactly the same as she did. Because when she first sees him, she's like, Alan M, and she's into the microphone. She steps away from the microphone. She sounds exactly the same. She's being fully blasted around this stadium. And then he gets to the stage, and then she's not mic'd anymore. Like, and that's a big boo-boo, in my mind.
But they finally ask each other how they feel about each other, right? This is the point of this. They finally able to admit that they love each other. It's very adorable.
Yeah, they're very cute. Alan M is lovely. And then they go back and they finish the song, and the thing ends, and we get bloopers.
You see me hit my nose on the mic.
From this command center, we control everything. Except what I'm gonna say next.
I can't even believe that they let me bring... You better get his mama to get him a new face.
You know my mom's dead.
That's just... Holy
Next up on weather.
I think we should have bloopers at the end of everything. I think, even like really sad films, I think we should have bloopers at the end of it.
Yeah.
I love bloopers. I cannot tell you how thrilled I was when I first discovered like Pixar did bloopers.
That
like
was
the idea of animating mistakes to put into, oh my god, I was so thrilled by that. Still am to this day.
Yeah, it's a great credit sequence. Did you watch all the way to the end of the credit sequence?
No, is there a post-credit sting?
There's a post-credit sting. It's just Mr. Movie Phone going, a jerkin, right at the very end.
I missed that. Oh, yeah. I was so annoyed with myself.
Yeah, I just had it on. I have it on DVD, so I just had it playing, and I got up to walk around, and I was doing stuff, and it was still playing, and then I was just like, I heard that, I'm like, oh, it's hilarious. I love it. Just at the end there. So there you go, Josie and the Pussycats.
Yeah. So yeah, it's very. I mean, it's very funny. It's very. The satire is great. It's very pointed, and I do enjoy that. And I think for even now, it's very relevant.
Yeah, I agree.
And I gave it a 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd, and I assume you will probably have given it more.
Yeah, I would give it a 4.5. I love this film. Again, it's one of my favorite films, but I recognize that some aspects of it don't hold up. And it's not a perfect movie, but it's just so funny. I just can't get enough of. And it's not even the three. Like the three main, they're very good, but it's all the other characters around them, all the little moments here and there. The agents and Parker Posey just steals the freaking movie.
Parker Posey and Alan Cumming are the best things in my mind. But I love Alan Cumming. I think he's fantastic. And Parker Posey is someone I've not really come across much.
Okay.
And so having these last 2 films with her in, she's very, very good. And I think Fiona is a fantastic character. Yeah. So I did really enjoy it. But the thing is that I think, again, it's one of those ones that if I watched it a lot, or if I'd watched it when I was younger and it became one of those, films that you watch with your friends all the time, I can imagine it being like a real sort of cult, as it is now, cult classic. I just haven't got there yet. I haven't seen it enough times yet. So to jump off from this one, we've done 3 comedies in a row. So I want to get serious.
All right.
And I was looking through who was in what. I immediately went, what else has J.R. Bourne been in? Let's go there. But in my my continual search for films I want to watch that I can link to the people in these films, Breckin Meyer plays somebody's son in The Insider.
Oh.
With Russell Crowe.
That's hilarious.
I had no idea, and I've wanted to watch The Insider for so long.
That one I saw in the theater, and I don't think I've seen it since. It's honestly, when it came out, it's a very good movie. I remember being blown away by it. I didn't remember Breckin Meyer at the time, but yeah.
Well, it's probably in it for 30 seconds, but it's an IMDb credit, and I'm taking this opportunity.
Why not? Hey, that's perfectly within the rules of this podcast.
I mean, I did get to the point where I was like, well, the girl who sang for Josie, she was in 10 Things I Hate About You. Her band was in, so we could go to 10 Things I Hate About You from her. But no, let's do. If you are willing, I would like to do The Insider.
Absolutely. I find it interesting that you're the one suggesting movies about gun control, the tobacco industry, and like evils of the world. Let's explore those.
I do love an evils of the world film.
This is it. This is the tobacco industry. It's a big. This is kind of the one movie that I remember being clued into, like the possibilities of evil corporations and what they can really do. That's kind of what this film is about, right? So it's obviously about all kinds of cover-ups. When people were like dying of lung cancer, and they're trying to say no, it wasn't cigarettes, and this guy, I think Russell Crowe's character has research that proves it or something. I don't remember the specifics of it.
Yeah, I don't know if he like works for the company and is a whistleblower. That's what I think with The Insider. But I think it comes at it from a slightly different direction than like Erin Brockovich, which is a film I absolutely adore. So yeah, I do love a corporations are evil film. So I'm really looking forward to this.
That's going to do it for this episode of Transatlantic Watch Party. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, keep watching movies.